All right, so let's just get this thing going. This is episode 4 of Within the Glasswood Forest, and I have a special guest today. She won't be talking, but she's definitely amongst us. I got my daughter in here helping out because we actually recorded this video once today, and unfortunately, it did not come out very well, and the camera autofocused off to the distance. So we got a little support today. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about what we've got going on in the business. We've got a few stories that we've been working on, and I think that people are going to be pretty excited to hear what's going on with a few of the developments that we have in the works, and a little bit about what we're doing to grow Glasswood. We got a few authors that we've been talking to that we want to be able to share a little bit of information on. We think that it's going to be good to share some of that information with everyone. And then a lot of today, I just want to be able to speak a little bit towards imagination and the idea of what imagination means for an adult, for parents and teachers, for anyone in their career, to be able to just talk a little bit about where imagination, where it's gone, why we don't have it anymore, and the impact that it has on our lives if we have the ability to be able to get it back. All right, so let's just kind of dive right into it. We've been working pretty hard on a few different books, and I want to say we've already finished about 3 or 4. They're currently in, I guess you would call it post-production. We've still got to go through, do some final editing, and then into the final stages of all the artwork, which is going to be probably one of the most time-consuming aspects of it, and we're really excited about it. Nonetheless, it is a massive challenge. So if there's any authors out there that are watching this video today, definitely go to glasswoodstoryworks.com, reach out to us via the contacts tab on our homepage, and send us an email. We definitely would be interested in reviewing some of your artwork, reviewing maybe even possibly some of your. So definitely go to our website and check out the contacts page. You can send us an email. So for the authors out there that have material that they'd like to share with us, go to our homepage, check out our contacts tab, and you can send us an email. We definitely want to check out what you got going on and review some of your material. We're looking for several artists to strengthen Glasswood Storyworks' portfolio for different art styles that we're interested in. So we're looking for a few different children's book authors that have children's book artists that have some really creative and whimsical art styles. And then for our young adult and our really and truly, it's going to be based on the books that we're writing. So that theme baked into the essence of the story, I feel like that's going to be able to speak volumes to what the artwork would be presented as. So in a world where it's very gloomy and it's a story of transformation, I can see that being some really detailed artwork for our book covers and other stories that we write that are more magical, that are more into the land of fantasy. I can see that being a totally different art style. So we just want to be able to reach out and whoever's out there, don't be afraid to reach out to us. I guarantee you we are extremely interested in reviewing what you're working on. We get inspiration from all corners of the internet right now, and we like a lot of what we see. So our oldest daughter, she draws all the time, and I think it's pretty empowering to see a child create something from their own pure imagination. She gets ideas from all the mangas that she reads, and she's constantly watching anime, and then she'll just go in her room and be lost in there for hours at a time, not making a word. Any normal parent would be extremely suspicious over the lack thereof of noise, but eventually she'll just walk out with a slip of paper and she'll be like, "Hey Dad, look what I just did." And I just have jaw-dropping moments because I'm like, I know for a fact, as much as I wanted to be able to be that skilled at creating artwork at that age, I definitely was not able to do that. And to see my child be able to do it, it's such a wonderful experience as a father, as a parent, to be able to say, "Hey, my kid is so good at doing this," and we just want to make sure that we're continuing to encourage that. Which kind of speaks volumes into what we're going to talk about today with nurturing and developing imagination. So back to what we were talking about earlier. As for authors, we've already begun working with a few different authors that we're extremely excited to be able to bring to the Glasswood Storyworks production, and it's going to be fantastic to see their work come to life on our website. We've got a few more things that we're trying to iron out, but once all that's said and done, and we're able to officially launch their work on our website, I think it's going to speak volumes to the creative mind behind Glasswood Storyworks, what we're trying to bring to the table for our audiences. We've got some really good people that are in the writing community that it's been such a pleasure to be able to speak with them. It's very encouraging to be able to talk to other people who are like-minded, other people who are just excelling in their craft, who, for whatever drives them, whatever that reason is, it's just so amazing to be able to see and hear people talk about their craft and their writing, and the reasons why they're doing it, why it's impactful for them, what's driving them to continue writing book 3, 4, book 20 for that matter. We want to be able to foster imagination in our children in a way that is reciprocal for them moving forward. We want them to be inspired to inspire others as well. We do many different things with our kids. I wish we could do more. But we're so limited on time. But we do as much as we possibly can. And just over the last couple of weeks, we've done a few things with the family that there's more than just entertainment via your home, whether that's reading a book or telling a story or watching a movie that you can do as a family. And I think we try to go on vacations and all of the normal things that people like to do. But we recently attended the Texas Renaissance Festival, and there was a certain moment where we showed up fully decked out. I was dressed as a big Viking. My kids were dressed as elves. My youngest son, he was dressed as Frodo. And we had the full experience. It was a fantastic time. And if you've never been to the Texas Renaissance Festival, you definitely need to make a trip to Texas and go and enjoy yourself a big turkey leg. We have there was so much inspiration as an author, as a creative mind, taking a little bit of time out to go experience that. It's like it rejuvenates the juices here within my mind. but even outside of that side, even outside of working on just developing the creative mind, but even outside of just being there for to develop the creative ideas, because there's so much inspiration going on, you realize in these moments where you realize how the simplest things can inspire your kids, and the simplest little bitty actions and kindness of others can really just change your perspective on life. And we had this moment where there was a lady that walked up to us, and she asked permission to approach our kids, but she was dressed as some sort of like wood elf or something like that, and she was carrying a basket of vegetables. She had carrots and potatoes and asparagus and squash in a basket. And my son's dressed as Frodo, and she just walks up to us and she approaches my son and she hands him a red skin potato. And it was but she walks up and she just asks, like, "Hey, can I give a red potato to the little hobbit?" And obviously we go along with it, and she hands this red skin potato to my son. And at first you would think, as a parent who believes that you have to give your kids the best of everything, kids that only want the best video game, only want to watch the newest movies, only want to have the coolest toys that just came out, to see a kid get excited about a red skin potato, the very idea that is all it took to light his world, make his day for the rest of the day. I mean, he walked around, we pushed him in the stroller all day, and he latched on to this red skin potato like it was the only potato left in the entire world. He dropped it a couple of times and had a couple of tantrums. We'd have to go find the potato and give it back to him. But it was just the idea that the moments you think as a parent or as a teacher, oh, I have to, set the standard, has to be set this high, and then after that, now you have to beat that level, or else your kids are going to feel like you're less quality, or you're not good enough, or you're not as cool as the parents down the road, or as the social influencing family online. This idea that is so abstract, and it's so flawed. Your kids just want to be with you. And I think that the more I realize that, it helps me as a parent, because there's so many moments where I get overburdened with work. There's a lot of things going on in our life. We're trying to run a business, we're trying to create, and we want to be able to do all this to be able to share with others and to be able to make sure that everyone else has the opportunity to enjoy the things that we're trying to create. And in doing all of those things, you get so wrapped up in all of them, it's easy to lose track of why you're doing it. And I think it's very important to reground yourself and to pull it back and say, hey, what's the purpose behind why I'm developing this business? What's the purpose behind why I want to, create a great life for my family? But I think it's also equally as important in while ensuring you understand your true purpose, it's realizing that you don't have to live up to this high standard. They just want to be with you. That's what your children truly want. At least that's what I'm led to believe with my kids, because I could give them the world, but if you leave the room, they cry. If they're not with you, it's not nearly the same excitement whenever they're sharing or talking about a toy. But I think if more people focused on the fundamentals of just being, present with their children, just trying to ensure that their kids get to see them and get to spend that time with them, I think that the things that we think are challenging, the things that we think are stressful in life, have the ability to be so much easier and so much more simple to cope with and to be able to understand, because you gain a deeper purpose as to the why behind it. And a lot of that comes from this idea that as we get older, we somehow, some way along the way, we just lose sight of our imagination. And you get to a spot where everything is zeros and ones. We're only living by the business. You're only living as a provider. Life is busy. You have to raise your kids. You have to send them to school. You have to make sure that they get an education. You have to, and that's just as a parent. But even someone who's running a business and or just working for a company for that matter, there's so many responsibilities and so many things that go on with day-to-day activities that it's easy to get so wrapped up in the rush and the duties that it takes to be able to live from one day to the next, that we feel like we have to sacrifice something to be able to give into that. And most often it's almost as if the creativity, the imagination that we once thrived within gets sacrificed somewhere along the way. I love playing video games, but I don't get to play video games nearly as much as I want to. And it's not because I can't do it. It's the very idea that what I had to give many things up in order to make time for others. You lose little bits of the creative mindset, and maybe that's necessary for your business, but maybe it's more importantly, it's necessary for the family to be able to feel wholesome. I remember as a kid how easy it was to just wander off into the land of imagination. My best friend lived next door to me. His name was Renee. And Renee and I played together every single day when I was a child. His uncle ran a construction company and they built houses for a living. And we used to go into Renee's house. They had an oak tree in their backyard, and we would get all this lumber and we would walk to the Ace Hardware store that was down the street from our house, and we would buy a whole bunch of nails, and we'd go back with all these nails and we'd have them in a little brown bag and we would take the lumber when his uncles and family were working. We would sneak in the back behind the barn and we would scrounge up boards and plywood, and we would build tree houses in this oak tree. And these weren't just like cheap little tree houses that a kid just a kid just imagines is really cool. These were legitimately like really detailed little buildings that we were crafting, and we would be nailing the boards, building a base to be able to walk on, and we would build the floor. We'd get the whole floor set up in the tree, and then from there we would start constructing walls, and we would have a way to be able to get in through the floor with a little ladder that we would nail to the tree, and these things were very strong. We actually, at one time, because it was when his uncles would come home from work, or if they needed this wood, they would, often we would get to keep the treehouse for a while, and then eventually they would tear it down because we weren't technically allowed to take all this wood. But then we get to build another one later on, and we would just rinse and repeat. But that said, we actually had a full-on sofa inside of this treehouse at one time, and our imaginations ran wild. So the treehouse wasn't just a little place to just go hide out and have fun. We had couches, we had pictures on the walls and all kind of stuff inside this treehouse. And now this treehouse, in our minds, when we were playing our games, this treehouse was a submarine, and we were being attacked by the enemy, and we were having to shoot missiles back at the enemy. At one point, this treehouse would have been a safe house to keep us safe from all the zombie apocalypse that was going on outside. Or there was an alien invasion, and it was our spaceship, and we were traveling off into the land of the unknown. Our imaginations ran wild with these little buildings, and we would run out of there and we would pick up sticks and we would play like they were swords. And I just remember as a kid, my imagination would run so wild that it was almost as if it was actually happening, like we were really doing all of the things that we thought we were doing. But then as time goes on, that part of our brain it's like it gets wired differently, and those memories fade away. That imagination seems to be, absorbed or faded or transferred so that you have energy for something else. But tapping back into that, it's really hard. It's really hard to pull back into that. And I think the more that we write books, it's getting easier and easier for us to be able to, pull back the imagination that we did lose, because it's vital. It's vital for our family, because you don't want to find yourself feeling as if you're on the outside looking in. And I think it's really easy. Everyone around you, I look at it, in my mind, it's as if someone is standing still, maybe like an old music video where someone's standing still in a glass box and the entire world is on fast forward, going 100 times faster than them, and they're just sitting there, separated. They're moving through time and space, and everything else is moving around them as if, it's as if life is irrelevant. And I know that might sound, a little on the dark side, but I do feel that we can get so wrapped up in creating a business. We can get so wrapped up in trying to be something that we want to be, whether that's in a specific career, or trying to be the best version, for our family, if we want to be a provider, and we put all of our energy into creating something so that we can provide for them. It's easy to let life and all of this creative beauty that life brings just completely bypass us. And I have to be constantly reminded that hey, you need to take a break and spend some time with the family, because I love my kids to death, and I want to be able to literally not just say I would do anything for them, but I want to legitimately do everything for them, and be able to create a life of wealth and create, hopefully, the mindset of this is what it takes to succeed, and not just give them the world, but give them the tools so that they can also replicate it and do themselves and teach other people how to succeed. But it's always a challenge whenever you want to do all of these great things, and then you get to a spot where did you miss all of the moments in between, the moments where life passed you and you didn't take advantage of that moment. We only have so many days. All of our days are numbered, and tomorrow, once it's gone, it's gone. There's no going back and changing that. So the moment someone says, hey, it's time to put the kids to bed, and myself as an example, I'm neck deep in a spreadsheet, or neck deep trying to polish off a story that I've been working on, or some of the content that we're trying to create, and if I choose to put that energy and leave it into the work, I missed that family moment. And that's not something you get back. I mean, you could do it again. You could try again the next day. And I encourage people to don't just say, oh, well, I didn't do it, so why even try? No, that just means tomorrow, whenever that opportunity presents itself, take advantage of it, because those days are numbered. And it's the little things where you see the spark of imagination when, and your kids, I said this earlier, more than more than, giving them tangible items that contain value, whatever that item is. They just want you. Sometimes we read to our kids, sometimes we tell goofy stories, but do I do it enough? I don't think I do anymore, and I want to be able to do more of it. I don't want to, be the person who says, hey, this is how you succeed, and this is how you should live your life, and these are the things that would make children happy. Preaching all of these things that are necessary to bring joy into your life while actively not doing them, that's I think a lot of people actually find themselves there. I think there's a lot of people who tell people how to succeed in life while actively not doing it themselves. Maybe they have something that's worth hearing, worth sharing, but they themselves are so wrapped up, they lose sight of following their own guidance. And I want to make sure that I follow the guidance that I say. If I say, hey, I think it's important that you read to your children and that you tell them stories and that you nurture their imaginations, I want to make sure that I'm being that parent who is actively doing that, not the parent who's passive. And it's really hard because, my kids move 100 miles an hour and we're moving at like 10 miles an hour. So they'll come at us with extreme energy, and it might be a high stress situation, a high, tense moment where we're trying to focus on something, and it's really hard to pull your attention away from something and give them the attention that they so desperately want. But it's actively working every day, chipping away at that and saying, hey, I have to choose to do better. I have to choose to give my family more of myself. And it's not to say, oh, that means you have to slow down. I honestly believe that if you take the time to give yourself to your family, to be present with your children, and to nurture the imagination and this creative side, if you can have just a little bit of these moments, if you start to chip away and take them back, I strongly believe that everything else that you're working on, it will fall into place. But not only that, it will fall into place much smoother. And I say that as an example. I try to write as much as I can, and we're actively trying to make sure that these stories are not just long books that we're selling. We want these books to be full of heart, full of soul. It's a challenge to ensure that for some people it's natural. For others, it takes work. You have to really put the effort in, because I've said this before. It's really easy to let go of something and focus on the hard things, because the easy things, maybe you think that they don't need that much attention, but it's the easy things. It's, giving time to your family that is so vital. I read something from, I want to say it was a friend of mine on one of our social media platforms. He recently shared something, and it really struck me because it makes a lot of sense. And he said something like, he's picking his kids up from school, and the teachers at the school, they kind of congratulated him, and it kind of threw him off, I guess, because it was, hey, we really like whenever you come to pick up your children, because whenever you do, you always show up with a smile, and you're so happy to be able to pick the children up. And I think it speaks volumes, because there's a lot of people there's a lot of people that wait in the same line to pick up their children from school, but they're living in two different mindsets. They're sitting in the same line, but their mind is somewhere different. They're stressed out about work. Maybe they're late. They're full of responsibilities or running through their mind. Whereas this gentleman, he pulls up to the same line. He waits through the same line that they do, and inches forward until he can get his children. But he does it with joy, and he does it with a smile on his face. And when his kids run out with their backpacks ready to tell him everything that they did at school that day, it's just so much more of a beautiful story to find yourself in, because we have the ability to live both of these scenarios. I say it to myself a lot, because I have to constantly remind myself and ground myself in the mindset that I want to be in. And I have the help from my wife, Sarah, who's constantly telling me the same thing. It's a mindset. We can choose to be happy. We can choose to be creative. We can choose to be inspirational for our children, or we can choose to let the things of life truly burden us and bring us down. And there's a difference between, having to do something for a living and wanting to do something. And I really believe that the moment you tap into the essence of why are you doing it? I want to create a business that shares inspiration and imagination and creativity for children, and I want my kids to be able to have this business and know how awesome it is and what all we sacrifice to create such a beautiful thing for them. I want to be able to do all of those things and know that, hey, I did it because it matters to me, because I'm inspired to do it, and my kids get to see this beautiful thing grow and prosper into something so magical. Whereas a lot of people will do something and they lose sight of the why. And now it's just a chore. Now it's a pain to do it. And that can be anything. There's people that, it could be as simple as drawing a picture where, now it's just a routine. It's part of your everyday job and you lose the joy of it. I used to build custom cabinets and furniture, and there were days whenever I would learn to do a new style of woodworking and join grooves together, and I would be so excited about, being able to create something so unique. And then other days whenever the orders were piling up and we had, sets of cabinets that we had to ship out to multiple people's homes, I just remember like, I could be doing something else and that would be so much funner. This just doesn't seem as fun anymore. But it was fun. And in hindsight, it wasn't that it was, not becoming fun or that it had transformed into something I didn't want it to. It was me that started looking at it through a different lens. And we have the ability to choose what that lens is. And I think the moment we can continue to pull back that imagination that we've lost and realize that, hey, this is a passion. This is fun. Not a lot of people get to do what you're doing, whatever it is. And if a lot of people are doing it, I'll tell you this, do it better than them. Whatever it is, it could be flipping patties. You be the best patty flipper there is, and find a way to make that a joy, because you get to help people, you get to feed people. Some people love that. Some people flip patties because they want to put themselves through college, and if that's it, then know that you're flipping patties and so that you can have a degree and go into the career and be able to achieve your dreams. Find a way to make the thing that you're doing inspirational for you, and then remember why you're doing it, whether that's for the family that you have or for the future that you want. I think if we focus more on those things, all of these other crafts that we're working on, not only do they get easier, I think they get better. They get better, your work gets better. We're constantly trying to find things that inspire us, whether, like I said earlier about us, going to the Texas Renaissance Festival, or just last night we went out to the Cynthia Woods Pavilion and watched the classical music, the Houston Symphony Orchestra. Those things are so inspiring because it helps the creative juices start to flow, and then we can tap into those. Use that joy, that inspiration, and fuel your work. And it doesn't have to be the arts. It doesn't have to just be, that only works because you write books and because you create stories and you do artwork. To me, it's all correlated. I want to be able to be better, whether it's crunching numbers and doing break-even analysis. I want to make sure that when I'm doing that, I remember when the moment it feels challenging and the moment it feels like, man, this is another long day of crunching numbers. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because this is a stepping stone to the career that you really want? Because if it is, then do it with a smile. Do it with the mindset like you're going to be the best at it, because that's how you get from A to B to Z. And if you already have the job you want, don't lose sight of what you have, because it's so easy to get caught up in everyday life and say, man, I used to really like what I'm doing and now I don't know so much anymore. I think that every once in a while, everyone experiences that. But what do you do in that moment? Do you give into it and swap careers? Do you leave? No, we're, Glasswood Storyworks, we want to make sure that people know that once you start something, teach your kids to finish it. Make sure that they see it through. I think it's vital. My daughter, granted, she's not a black belt. However, she wanted to be in karate. And she saw, I don't know if we saw it on television or I don't know where we saw it at, but she wanted to be she wanted to do Taekwondo. So we signed her up for it. And I knew exactly what was going to happen. I knew exactly it was not going to be you walk out of this thing cutting back flips, chopping boards in half. It was going to be show up, you've got to run circles, you got to do push-ups, you've got to do jumping jacks, and there's a good bit of leg work. It was the same whenever I wanted to start playing baseball, and you thought you were going to just walk up to the home plate and hit a home run, and then everybody's going to give you a pat on the back and you get to go home, and then that was it until you go and do it again. No, we were running drills, we were running around home base, and we were running through outfields, and we were fielding grounders, and we were doing all of this. But that's exactly what happened with my daughter. So she signed up for it, and we weren't going to let her get out of it. And the mindset was, you have to finish this year. You signed up for it, you committed to it. We're not going to raise no quitters. We're not raising quitters, because my mama didn't raise no quitter, and I'm not going to be a quitter. And if we say, hey, we did our best, we saw it through to the end, and now that it's over, now we can move on to something new. That's one version, and that's appropriate, that's acceptable. But the opposite of that is we're not just going to say, hey, well, you tried it, you didn't like it. No, we're going to see it through. We're going to see it through, because you're going to learn something along the way. And she did. There were days where it was like, man, we got to run in circles again. But then other days she shows up and they get to put shirts on and play with paint. And then there's other days when they show up and they get to chop boards in half. And then they do get to do all the fun, exciting things. And then the moment she went from her white belt to her yellow belt, this is the joy that it brought, saying, hey, I achieved this. And I think that that's what we have to be able to teach our children. And we have to teach ourselves along the way, is that things don't just get thrown in our laps. The keys to success are not always just freely thrown. If you want them, we have to grind, and we have to grind, and we have to grind, and we have to constantly remind ourselves that there are challenges in life that need to be overcome, but it's remembering why you're doing it. And I think it's so vital that if you have something that you can lean into, whether it's your family, whether it's your goals and aspirations to succeed in life, whether it's the career or the business that you want to run, if you can remember that those are the things that you're fighting for, it's going to make that grind so much easier. So if there's authors out here that think the same way, that believe that what they're working on truly has the ability to inspire kids to be able to plant wonder and grow imagination, like what we do at Glasswood Storyworks, go to our website, glasswoodstoryworks.com, go to our contact link and send us an email. We definitely want to reach out to you. And this year, we're trying to we're sourcing 2 more authors for this year right now. Next year, we'll open back up that window and bring in a few more authors. We want to make sure that the authors that we bring in feel like they're truly being represented and feel that their work is being shown in the way that it's appropriate. So we're not signing hundreds and hundreds of authors all at once. We're going to bring in a select group, small bits at a time, and phase them in so that we can properly manage our team. We want to grow strategically, and we want people to feel that they're getting the time and attention and the details needed to be able to craft their stories. Some authors need a lot of support, some authors don't need a lot of support. So we want to make sure that we're crafting our offerings and helping develop them in the way that's fitting, while also developing our own creative works. So we've got a lot going on with Glasswood, and we've got some fantastic things in the works. I don't know if the next episode will be in this location or not. We're going to be on vacation for a little while. We've got some exploratory learning that we're trying to get out. So we're probably going to be taking a trip up to Arkansas and doing some filming there. So I think that's going to be really fun. And I think hopefully we've got some really good locations that we've been sourcing to be able to do some filming at. So we're really looking forward to sharing that with people too. So stay tuned. So if you like waterfalls or cliffside edges, we're really hoping that you tune into the next episode. Maybe we have some stuff we can share on our trip. So if you've tuned in this far, thank you for listening, and looking forward to having you on the next episode of Within the Glasswood Forest.